New developments took place in the Jamie Hood trial today in this courthouse. Find out what those are next. We have some updates of the New York shooter Jeffrey Johnson up next on Grady News Source. Find out what's coming to Athens that'll make it easier for you to get around town. And coming up next, we'll tell you what Jamie Hood's prosecutor said about the case. This assisted living home is where surplus amounts of food are brought in from places like the Farmers Market and the Georgia Center. The foods are then cooked, packaged up, and delivered to families in the Athens area who are in need of a hot meal. It is a long time, but it's well worth the wait. Parking in downtown Athens can be a pain, but this new park and ride will bring over 200 new parking spaces for Athens commuters. Dogs are practicing right now in preparation for the season opener against Buffalo this Saturday. Well, Mamie, Malden told me in very blunt terms, that this case has just been going on entirely too long. As you know, the accused Jamie Hood is charged with killing a police officer. Malden did not want to be on camera, but he did tell me that the main question is whether or not Hood is competent, and Malden says there's no doubt in his mind that he is. Crystal and Kyle, we are under a tornado watch. You can see that it is affecting a huge part of the state, this whole western half of the state here and into parts of Alabama, and it is because of this front that you can see just looping around into what you can barely make out there as Atlanta, and it's just going to push right on into us. So take precaution, and I will keep you updated as this progresses.
This matter, I'm exasperated with our seeming inability to get to a point where we can address the motion on the merits.
Jamie Hood entered the courtroom with a new lawyer today. Hood no longer wants his previous two attorneys to be a part of his defense team, and his previous head attorney was not able to be at the hearing. Hood's new lead defense attorney, Newell Hamilton, had a long and drawn-out conversation with Judge David Sweat, asking for a motion to continue because he was not prepared to take on the case.
If this matter is continued from today to allow me a little bit more time to adequately prepare, then I will be ready to go forward.
Judge Sweat reluctantly decided to grant the motion to continue and postpone the hearing for when a second defense chair can be present. Hood has been known to disrupt the court with several outbursts throughout the course of these proceedings, and today was no exception.
It wasn't me who come up with this fictitious mentally incompetent due to child abuse. So it's not Jamie Hood or Judge Sweat or the prosecutor who the one who really responsible for this delay.
Hood was so upset with the way his defense has handled this case that he went as far as to say that he would represent himself if necessary. Hood's odd behavior continued with his final statement to the judge, quoting a Vicki Lawrence song.
I put on the record, it said, the night like the one out in Georgia, not even home, innocent man. Don't trust yourself, no backwoods southern yard lawyer, and the judge got bloodstained in the hand, Judge.
Well,
I understand. I understand.
Despite the defense pushing for at least an extra week to prepare, Judge Sweat was already annoyed by their lack of preparedness and would not grant their request.
I've had in excess of 10 capital felonies, including 6 murder trials.
Well, Crystal, it's not that there are more students suffering from it so much as that there are more students seeking treatment for it. That's true nationally, but it's even more true right here at the University of Georgia. 200 more students a month are seeking help from the Counseling and Psychiatric Services Department at the UGA Health Center this year than they have in the past.
The primary concern on our campus is anxiety. We have a lot of individuals that have anxiety disorders, and anxiety disorders are really challenging because they usually come along with depression.
This increase in anxiety is partly because students aren't learning the proper coping skills when they're young.
We've got kids that are starting on medications at a younger age because medication seems to be what a lot of people think is the first line of defense, when in reality the first line of defense really should be the coping skills and learning to manage life, which isn't always pleasant but can be managed.
Robin says there are 3 spikes in students seeking help every year: the beginning of the semester, midterms, and finals.
Our normal line is now higher than it was before, and our spikes are higher than they were before.
One Athens psychiatrist says there are a number of possible reasons for this increase.
First of all, there are better treatments available nowadays than there have been in the past. And secondly, I do think there's less of a stigma surrounding mental illness and the treatments for it in particular that are enabling people to seek out that care more readily.
He says there are a few things students can do to reduce stress.
Well, I think the best way is to be preemptive, meaning keep up with your studies throughout the year, don't procrastinate, making sure that you get plenty of sleep, watching your diet, be sure you're exercising regularly, getting regular physical activity.
Students also need some kind of social interaction, especially during finals. Dr. Robbins says most students aren't aware of the resources on campus that can save their college careers.
And what we want most is for students to know that we're here, that there are a multitude of resources available to them, either in person or on the internet, and they don't have to go through this alone.
The bad news? More and more students are being hospitalized because of anxiety and depression. The good news, more and more students are getting help. Hard hats, equipment, and lots of dirt. Construction is taking over this scene right off of Loop 10 on Oconee Street. Workers have been out here since May, clearing the way for Athens' newest park and ride.
This park and ride has been developed to help give folks an option of parking away from downtown and using public transit services to get in and out of downtown.
Downtown parking is very limited. Some students think the park and ride will be much more convenient.
You always have to kind of plan your day around trying to park downtown. Like if you're going downtown later, you got to coordinate with people. So carpooling sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, it's just kind of a hassle to park downtown. So it'd be good if there were some other options.
It can also be expensive. This lot will be a cheaper option for drivers.
Right now, we do not have plans on charging to park daily. It'll be a free daytime lot. When it comes to football season, we will probably charge during football season just because there'll be a maintenance aspect.
The parking lot will also have many environmentally friendly features. It includes many trees, rain gardens, and pervious concrete, which reduces water runoff. It will also include LED lighting.
We looked at the feasibility of using new technology, and we were able to reduce the number of lights we needed by about a fourth by going with LED.
The location for this park and ride is ideal for drivers because of how close it is to downtown and also for Athens Transit.
We will see more people ride the bus because they're parking out here.
Whether you decide to ride the bus or use this lot to carpool with your friends, this park and ride will soon be an option for Athens drivers. Women make about 77 cents for every dollar a man makes in the workplace. That's according to USA Today and one UGA professor, Ian Smutty. It's primarily because women choose majors and occupations that generally pay less. But Smutty says when a woman and a man have comparable positions, they make the same amount of money. Pretty soon there will be more women than men in the workplace.
More and more college graduates are female, and that means that employers are ultimately going to be having to do more things to attract. If you want skilled labor, you'll be having to do more to attract female workers into your workforce, and that's going to include employers in Athens.
Smutty says it's very important that both male and female students get college educations and take them as seriously as possible.
So for men or women, the workforce is becoming increasingly competitive. The kinds of jobs that seem to be required in the future are things that we think of as being complementary to skill. So the types of technology that we're developing require a capacity not only to just understand the technology, but to be creative with it.
The manager of the Blind Pig Tavern in Athens thinks women make more money than men in some cases.
In the business that I'm in, I think that, especially when you're dealing with tips, I think that women tend to make more money.
Smutty hopes the future will be more choice-based than wage-discriminated. This is Tedi Rountree, Grady News Source.